Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're just going to give it about a minute or two so that we can get all of our audience onto the platform and ensure that their audio is connected. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Brittany Smiley, and I'll be the moderator today. And we would like to welcome you to the LTSSS in our community. The title of today's discussion is Keeping Tribal Elders Connected, Real Stories from the Front Lines. And then I have the pleasure of introducing our esteemed panel today. Our facilitator is Debbie Dijek. She's the president of Unite. And then the panelists, we have Agnes Sweetsar, Teresa Garcia, Samantha Bourne, Kelly White, Mark Holcomb, Carla Kragman, Trinity Edwards, Flower Norris, and Portia Means. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Debbie.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being on our webinar today. Unite has a long history of working with CMS, and we have been doing these webinars for quite a few years. Unite stands for Uniting Nursing Homes in Tribal Excellence. We started out as a collaborative in 2014, and we are now a 501c3. We have a board of directors. We are a membership-based organization. And we serve tribal elders in nursing home settings and also in assisted living settings. So we're all about improving the quality of life for the elders we serve. We are also, as of 2018, partnering with Leading Age. Next. So our mission is to partner with tribes, again, to improve the quality of life for tribal elders. We are very strong on implementing evidence-based practices, culturally relevant education and training, and we work with quality improvement organizations and ombudsmen across the country to implement these missions. Next. So our webinar objectives for today have to do with keeping residents and tribal elders connected despite some of the regulatory changes that we've seen in the last 15 months. And so the topics that we're going to focus on specifically have to do with admission and readmission processes, companionship, resident councils, traditional food, technology, holidays, the use of PPE, and appointments, medical appointments. We also, at the end of this, will have a case study presented by Morningstar Care Center. Next. So this definition is very important. So loneliness and social isolation are distinct aspects of social relationships, but both can put people's health at risk. So loneliness and social isolation in older adults are serious public health risks affecting significant number of people in the United States. So this can be a risk for dementia or other medical conditions. And I have cited where I took this information from. Next. Social isolation and loneliness are serious but underappreciated public health risks. The risk factors include things like living alone, losing family or friends, which we know happened in the past year, chronic illness, and sensory impairments. Many tribal elders have these. Social isolation presents a major risk for premature mortality that is as comparable to the mortality for high blood pressure, smoking, and obesity. Next. Social isolation significantly increased a person's risk of premature death from all causes. Social isolation was associated with about a 50% increased risk of dementia. And loneliness was associated with higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide. I hope you'll take a minute after the webinar to look at this link and look up the full article. Next. In general, people are social by nature, and high quality social relationships can help them live longer and healthier lives. A doctor's appointment or a visit from a home health nurse may be one of the few face-to-face encounters that elderly people have. Next. Social isolation and person-centered care. Just a note here that all residents must make their own decisions. Some people like being alone. Next. So as the panelists begin to speak, we will be discussing these regulatory concepts that have occurred in the past 15 months and how, with the different topics, we will be talking about how these impacted those topics. So concepts like cohorting, for example, having a COVID hall, just COVID patients on that hall, quarantining, vaccination, exposure to COVID that someone might have had from a staff member or from someone in the community or another resident, length of time spent outside the facility, community transmission rates, family decisions that affect elders, decisions made at interdisciplinary team meetings or care planning meetings, waivers, and social distancing. So all these things will be talked about by our panelists as they present. Next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Samantha Bourne, and I am presenting on admissions and readmissions during COVID. So next. All right, so the admissions processes had become a little more difficult because it is a difficult decision for family members to put their family into a nursing home. And with everything that we heard on the news about nursing homes and what was going on with COVID, the decisions became more difficult with all the not facilities, but all the local places closing. It was really hard to get documentation that we needed to help with the admissions. So our process did change quite a bit to accommodate people during COVID. When COVID first hit, we did do COVID lockdowns, so we weren't able to bring in people. Just whenever we had COVID in our facility, we wouldn't bring anyone in, I guess, for their safety and for the safety of our residents or in general. So with that, we started doing pre-admission COVID testing, and we did run into something where our local IHS, our Indian Health Services, did the test, and at the time they're like, if we don't call you, that means everything's okay. So we brought in a gentleman, and he didn't get a call, so he said he was negative. He actually came in positive. We tested him when he got in, and so with that, that started our actual first COVID lockdown, because from there we just got a lot of COVID positivity in our facility. Then with readmissions, we did send out some of our residents to the local hospitals. They would come back. They would go out, they'd come back. We would accept them back. If they had COVID, they'd just go into our separate COVID wing. We did do that. We created an entire hall with all the CDC protocols, I guess, to do the COVID quarantining. you have any questions or anything, I believe that's about all I have. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Kelly White from Morningstar Care Center in Fort Washakie, Wyoming. One of the things that we've seen during COVID was end of life and compassionate care for our elders that were aging and entering the end of life. Due to the restrictions in the building, we ended up having to put our elders that were at end of life or on hospice care in the COVID wing of our building. We only were allowed to let 2 family members in. Being traditional tribal elders, they normally would have had a lot more family involvement, and their cultural end of life cedering and their saying goodbyes have them be done in the building. Unfortunately, we were unable to allow that to happen due to the guidelines that were in place. So 2 family members got to come in to say their goodbyes to their father, and during that time, the rest of the family had to say their goodbyes through the window. That was very difficult for the family, myself, and for the elder, and to be able to uphold their cultural beliefs of how they wanted to say goodbye to their family member. Thankfully, the funeral homes and out of state were able to help facilitate the transportation of the bodies. And we just worked together as a team the best that we could in the uncharted waters. Normally, when we have somebody on hospice care, we're open 24 hours a day to their family. We provide trays, compassion trays to the family for meals, snacks, drinks, and we really want them to be able to say their goodbyes. And so that COVID has changed how we have been able to do that. Thankfully, we've been able to be a little bit more relaxed and allow 2 people in at a time, but they can come multiple times a day. Next.
Start over. Hi, I'm Flower Morris. I'm the activity director at Morningstar Care Center at Fort Washakie with Kelly, and I'm talking on Elder Council. Actually, during COVID, we found that Elder Council became more positive than negative. And when you have a group and you have one person that has that enjoys complaints, tends to have other people complain, or other people don't speak up. So we went room to room, and it involved more people, because there are people that didn't come to Elder Council that now are being asked their concerns and complaints, and even their praises of the staff. So we were able to pass on a lot of praises of the staff. After Elder Council, when we get our notes typed up, all of the department heads receive the notes, and then our root cause analysis or copy officer takes care of any of the complaints that we need to address and have fixed, and it's just been a lot more positive. Thank you. Next.
Hi, this is Agnes Sweetser. I'm the administrator at the Yukon-Kaikuk Elder Assisted Living Facility in Galena, Alaska. And I'm going to talk about traditional food. Food is an integral part of all cultures. We often use the term traditional or native food, and I'm going to introduce a new term today. At one meal, we served the coveted beaver meat. When I went back to ask the elder if there was anything else that he needed, he slammed his fist down on the table and said, "No, they call this traditional food, and it's not. To us, it's spiritual food, and that's all we need when you feed us. We just want to enjoy it and the memories of our family and our life." That term, spiritual food, more encompasses the value, importance, and impact there is to continuing to have the foods that they had all their lives. In our area, our main spiritual foods are moose, salmon, whitefish, beaver, ducks and geese, wild rhubarb, and berries. For special occasions, we try to serve moose head soup, duck or geese soup, moose nose, giaga, which is half-dried salmon, and fish ice cream, which is made with whitefish and berries. Serving these foods in our home provides connection for our elders. Next slide, please. One of the challenges of living in a facility is that elders have a more difficult time and less opportunity to contribute and teach. In this slide, my aunt is hanging at my smokehouse, teaching her great nieces how to cut salmon, which she is able to provide then for her housemates. Most of our staff, young ladies like these, do not know how to make berry pudding, cut salmon, make fish ice cream, or cook moosehead soup, and it's the elders that teach them that. Traditional or spiritual food provides valuable opportunities for connecting, and definitely during the pandemic. Next slide, please. Families are the main providers of our spiritual foods. When we tell them that this soup is from the first moose that your nephew's son got, or your granddaughter and her kids picked these berries for this ice cream, it brings smiles and joy. They want to make sure they share with everyone and have that moment to remember and tell about their family. In this picture, my elder aunt is cutting giaga, or half-dried salmon, with the salmon provided by her nephew. She's in her glory and feeling connected to her family. The next slide, please. Having their spiritual food brings back good memories of cultural events, seasonal activities, potlatches, positive experiences. In this photo, my aunt is enjoying salmon head, and most especially because it came from her family. When they get down, we often say, fix her a salmon head, and that always lifts them up, takes them out of their depression. It's a good antidepressant. Next slide, please. Our residents miss their grandchildren and their greats. When they get a gift of food from them, they're happy to know that they are learning to hunt and provide, and happy that they're being thought about, even though they can't visit. In this photo, my cousin, an elder in our home, is teaching the staff to process lush, I guess, which is bourbon. And it's a lush that her nephew dropped off, so she's feeling very connected to him with a lot of memories. The next slide, please. Most of our residents have some form or level of dementia. Having foods that they enjoyed as children with their family and community brings back memories, some positive and some hard memories. It gives them an opportunity to process when it's hard. Way back when I was a kid, there was no moose, and they go on to tell stories of famine, or they have happy stories of hunting trips, being in fish camps, beaver trapping, happy memories. In this picture, my aunt, who has dementia, was unable to do much in her dementia. She got depressed, isolated, until she got her hands on the salmon, and you could see how happy she is. She has so many stories and plans for this salmon, and many happy memories of fish camp and her family. She was connected to her family, her culture, and her history. I've learned to appreciate the value of providing spiritual food for our elders, and it was especially important during the pandemic. Thank you. Next.
Sorry. I'm Mark Joaquin Jr. I'm the Social Services Director at Archie Hendricks Skilled Nursing Facility down in Southern Arizona. Today, I'm going to be talking about connections with social media and technology. When the pandemic hit at our facility, it was a challenge for our staff and our residents as far as what to do, how to communicate with our family members, our providers, our hospitals, and all the people that we work with around the area. everything was new. And as you know, our reservation is a sovereign nation. So we also had to abide by the executive order that was placed by our tribal administration. And COVID was also new, but we went into lockdown right away, and we closed off our facility to no visitors. There was no contact with family members as well as providers. And then we had a challenge with that with our residents, especially our elder residents, who were not familiar with this type of environment, being in their room every day, all day. Their routine was changed. Their well-being was also slightly affected, as well as other ways of technology. I think it was something we never thought, the elders never thought, our residents never thought we would be experiencing anything like this in our facility or in our lives. So we came up with some ideas on, immediately came up with ideas to maintain that connection, because we feel it's important for our elders and our residents to have connections with their families, as well as other providers that they trust. So we had to do a policy, or we did several policies to try to make things happen as far as connections with other, mainly with families. So we started doing Zoom visits. That was a challenge because a lot of our families didn't have Zoom or didn't know about Zoom, and never thought they would have to put it on their phone or on their computer, meaning the app. We also did window visits. We didn't get a big turnout because I think that was something new also for our families. And a lot of them preferred to see people in person. However, we continued to maintain phone contact with any residents that wanted to talk to family. I know I was out there talking to residents, and if they wanted to talk to their family member, most of the time I had their number, so I would just dial it on their phone and talk to them. So that's how they maintained their connection with them. Our current situation, we continue to do window visits for families, Zoom visits if they request phone. They're allowed to continue to make contact with phone. And then we also had to work with our designated essential visitors, which we call DEVs, to get them vaccinated. So in fact, we're going to be opening the facility pretty soon to them, since it's been about 1.5 years since we had no visitors in the building. But we were talking about possibly letting our family members start coming in to visit our residents. And I want to leave some time for Sharisa, my coworker.
Hello, I'm Sharisa Garcia. I work at Archie Hendricks Senior Skilled Nursing Facility on the Thanaotham Reservation. Just going off of what Mark was talking about, we had received a grant that allowed us to get iPads for each of our residents. We started doing virtual activities. At first, our residents were hesitant, but they did quickly catch on. We have activity staff that are assisting with setting up iPads before every scheduled activity. Then afterwards, they pick them up and sanitize. They make sure they're fully charged for the next activity. Every day we have about 5 to 6 activities that range from exercise, different types of bingo, card games, guest speakers, entertainment, and we can't forget choir groups or rosaries. We also have been able to join in on our surrounding communities, virtual activities that they have going on. And, overall, since we've received the iPads, we've seen such a huge improvement with our residents' use of technology and also with their quality of life. Next.
On the sensory, we use a lot of communication boards where they can spell out, if they can't talk, they can spell out what they're trying to say. We have vision magnifiers, dry erase boards for people that are still able to communicate by writing. And then we actually got, the elders were having a hard time hearing when they were able to have a visit. So we bought a speaker, kind of like a bank teller speaker, and it's pretty loud. And just to really help them, the family had a receiver on their side. They were able to hear a lot better to be able to communicate with their families. We have a Never Too Late program that we were able to have. It has 3 iPads with it. They can travel virtually anywhere they want to go. They can Skype with family. It was really a lifesaver. We also have a wheeled unit like we're using right now for this program. And it's good because they could be wiped down because they were, quarantined to their rooms. So I have a little time for Kelly too.
On the speaker, the cord was a 6-foot distance, so it worked out great to be able to use. We really had struggles with the elders still being able to hear with the mask use, but it did make it a little bit easier. We also are blessed in Wyoming to have, it's called the Wyoming Assistive Technology Resources. It's based out of the University of Wyoming. It's a lending library for sensory items, and we can get, we've used the Toby eye gaze for one of our elders that has trouble speaking. It's a computer system that we can get on loan for about 2 months, and they are able to communicate. They have like a voice amplifier that we've used, and a lot of different options that we can get for our elders that are limited on their sensory. That's been really helpful. Next.
Hi, sorry, my name is Carla Kragman. Connections and activities, we were just basically jumping through hoops, standing on our heads, doing anything we could to accommodate our residents. We had a lot that wanted to go shopping, but of course we weren't able to take them out at all. So we would, get on the iPads and let them look like at walmart.com and pick out different things. And then we would go and do the shopping for them. They really enjoy the bird feeders, the bird baths we have outside. They like to watch them.
I'm Trinity Edwards, and I'm the activities director. We would have a priest come around once a week and bless a facility outside, and he would also come to the windows with some residents that would like to see him. And we would do van rides, of course, with social distancing, and they would have to wear masks and sanitize before and after. And you want to go over the community fees?
We did have some people that did want to go out to, if somebody had passed away, and they were able to go out and of course quarantine when they came back. We didn't have a whole lot. They chose not to do that sometimes. Next.
Yep. So this is just a copy of our elder council when we had to do it in their room when we started. It was a little bit different than what it was like when we did it in the big group. So we put together just a survey on elder council. These are some of the questions we would start with, and then it just was able to lead into more discussions about their care. So that was something that we put into place with COVID, and it has been great to utilize. So we're going to continue using that as well. Next.
All right, that would be me with holidays. Really had to think out of the box for holidays. It was hard when Mother's Day hit and you can't come see your mom. So we did Queen for the Day, and we asked them what they wanted to eat. The kitchen was very good about cooking steaks on the grill for them and making a wonderful meal for them. They had tiaras to wear for the day, and we got roses and flowers to give to them. Let's see, Christmas, we had Santa. He went room to room to hand out gifts to our elders, and they really enjoyed them. He got gowned up and masked up and headed down the hall for us. Easter, we had a princess, I'm kind of skipping around, sorry. Easter, we had a princess day where the staff got to dress up as any princess that they wanted to. The elders were really happy to see all of the different princesses like Cinderella, Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And then again, we did our ladies up for the day and did our men up. And then we did our own Easter egg hunt for them. And they were able to go throughout the facility with one other worker and pick up their own Easter eggs. And then we had a party for them. Valentine's Day, they decorated their own envelopes like back when we went to school. And the families and the community sent in Valentines. They sent them in chocolates and stuff, and we placed them in their own little Valentine's envelopes. And then we did a 50s sock hop day and just had a lot of fun dressing them up. And again, the staff is awesome here about dressing up and participating. And next.
So we really had some difficult time with masks. Some of our elders are unable to wear them, especially our dementia and Alzheimer's elders. It was really difficult for them to understand the concept of first staying in their room, quarantining, and then also adding a mask on top of it. They were unable to see our facial expressions, and that was another lack of communication that we found really difficult. So we kind of just care planned for everyone. We educated them when we could, and if they refused to wear a mask, we just had that care plan and we discussed it with their families as well. For the most part, our elders did really a great job of wearing their masks. In the middle of COVID, when it was very heavy through our community, we did ask them to wear it when we went in to provide care or provide one-on-ones in their room. And they were good about doing that as well. Just a lot of different reminders for our elders. Flower and Activities did a great job on trying to make the masks use fun. They got to decorate their own masks, and they did different things for the holidays. The men got to have mustaches on theirs. The ladies got to have lipstick lips and jewels. That was really nice. One of the things that we really ran into was with mask use, we're not able to see the changes medically going on with our elders. We had an elder that was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, and how long had they sat behind that mask that we didn't notice the signs before we could have tried to get some help on board. So that's been difficult, is because we can't see the changes in our elders' face with the mask, and the difficulty of communicating with them and being able to show our communication. Thankfully, they can see our eyes, but I think the mask has really hindered that and also helped with the isolation.
At one point, we did actually smiles for them because they hadn't seen our smiles and we hadn't seen their smiles for a while. So we downloaded a bunch of different smiles that we could hot glue onto masks and provide those to the elders and to the staff, and it was heartwarming.
All right, next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Portia Means. I am from the Oglala Sioux Dakota Nursing Home in White Plain, Nebraska on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I'm here to talk about the connectivity and spiritual needs of our residents. In our facility, we had a phase protocol that we initiated. And in phase 1, we had residents still request the presence from priests, from our local churches. And so working closely with with one priest, he was able to come to the residents' windows when they requested. And then also, as the months progressed on, he felt more comfortable coming into the facility. He had the immunity from the virus. So he felt comfortable coming into our facility, signing waivers, doing in-room prayers with them, and that falls under the last rites. We did have family members that did sign waivers to come in and be with their relative while they were preparing to pass on. And then as well as our priest came into our facility, he would bless the halls, the rooms, do room visits. So that's one way that we were able to get through the pandemic and still have the families involved. And then we also had a local girls' school on our reservation. They made chanliwa paktas, and those are tobacco ties. And so in each tie that they gave us, they had prayers for our elders so that they wouldn't be affected by this virus. And with the guidance from a spiritual leader, we were advised to put them on the west wall and then smudge them off periodically. We would have to take them down, of course, and go outside of the facility and smudge them off. But that's one way that we incorporated our culture and something that was volunteered to us from the younger generation. Next slide, please. We also use resources that like the tablets, like many of the other speakers have mentioned. We use Facebook Live. One of our local churches went live every Sunday and held services. So we were able to do that in our theater room on the big screen. We would invite our residents to come down, or we would use the tablets to take to their room. And then also, like I mentioned before, the father would come down and bless the rooms. We also had a volunteer group of community members come together, and they sat outside of our facility in the front of the building and sang prayer songs. They brought a drum group. They smudged around the facility grounds to bring healing and protection to our elders here. And then also what we've came encounter with was a lot of mental health issues related to the COVID pandemic. Next slide, please. And one testimonial that we had was from one of our residents who already had an underlying diagnosis of anxiety. He began to experience an increase in symptoms. And he believed that it was being in his room, the stress of the virus. So he requested from me to seek outside guidance from a priest. So we gave him the resources, the phone number, the tablet, so they would FaceTime. Later on in the pandemic, the priest would come in and do room visits with him, and that is how he was able to get through the pandemic, as well as building relationships with outside agencies. Thank you.
Okay, so whenever we didn't have any visitors coming in, we would show extra attention to our residents and spend more time with them during the day, just because we weren't allowing any visitors in. And we just did all kinds of activities with them and tried to make them feel better, and because they got to see us every day and we're the only faces they've seen every day. So they would spend more time with everybody during the day, got to know us. We just made them feel as more like so much comfort. We tried our best with them.
We had a lot of virtual visits with our iPads, and we were able to have people, come to the windows and visit as well. We are now allowing visitation. They have to be screened, of course, before they come in. They still have to stay 6 foot apart. But that seems to be going very well. Sometimes we do it outside, or we'll do it in the building as well. Next.
So one of the issues that we had during COVID was dialysis and medical appointments. Most of the providers in our community went over to telehealth appointments, and we were able to facilitate those here in the building. Our local IHS would also come over for the elders that they followed to do their appointments here in the building. All of our dialysis patients, though, had to move to the COVID wing. That when we went into lockdown, we separated our halls. One turned into a COVID wing, and anyone that had to regularly go out for appointments went onto that side of the building, just to kind of keep transmission down when we did get COVID in the building. They also had to, when they were on quarantine over here, Morningstar, when they went to dialysis, they had to be in the quarantine room over there. So it was a double isolation, and they were unable to speak to anyone really, because they were in their own rooms. They were in their own isolation booth at dialysis. And it really did a number on our elders that were on dialysis, and just the waiting to know if we were going to have them be on quarantine. And thankfully that's a little better now. They are able to be out in the general population when they go to dialysis. They were able to move back to the other side of the building and be able to attend activities if they wanted to.
On the doctor's appointments and the telehealth, it was really hard because for our elders, that's not really their doctor. They're seeing a screen, and it was just a learning thing for them because they've not done that before. They want to go see their doctor, so that was a really difficult thing for our elders to have to do. But it was nice that we had some means to get it done for them.
We'll go next. For the case study today, I was going to talk about, we had a 96-year-old tribal elder that lived at Morningstar from 2017 to 2020. We went on to lockdown on March 12th, 2020. Prior to this elder was out of her room at 7:30 a.m. down to the dining room every day. She had her PhD, was very educated, very involved in the community and different programs that the community was involved with. Her family and business partners would come twice a day to enjoy mealtime with her. They would sometimes eat with her, but for the most part, they would have business meetings, discuss what was happening in the community. She was involved in a lot of research and projects geared towards the Native American culture, and she wanted to give back to her people. When COVID started and they had to start being isolated to their rooms, I conducted a BIMS, and she was a 14 out of 15 being cognitively aware, and that was normal for her. She was very sharp. We started noticing a decrease in her weight. On April 16th, her recorded weight was 104 pounds. On April 20th, we introduced a mealtime companion that would go in and eat meals with her. We felt like that was something that was, the isolation from her family and friends was making her more depressed. We started encouraging the family to come more often and have window visits when they could. On April 27th, she started having increased confusion, and we tested her medically for a UTI. For people that don't know, a BIMS is a mental evaluation that we do quarterly in a nursing home. It's a brief interview of mental status. During COVID, we did those a little bit more just because of the depression and the isolation. We wanted to really stay on top of it. Her confusion increased over time. In May, she had increased in her confusion, and we started noticing a cognitive decline in just being with her and speaking with her. We had labs done on May 7th. There was nothing medically wrong with her. The doctor stated that there was nothing going on, and he thought that she needed to have more family involvement, and encouraged us to offer more window visits. We asked the family to come in during meal times and sit on the other side of the window while she ate, and also she would have the mealtime companion on our side. They repeated the labs again on May 3rd, or June 3rd, I'm sorry, and there was no concerns or nothing medically wrong. Her recorded weight was 103 pounds, and she had lost about 12 pounds in 6 months. Her BIMS at that time was also 13 out of 15, still showing that she was cognitively sound, and we just continued watching her weight. By the end of June, she was at 100 pounds, and she was decreasing on her intake. In the beginning of July, her confusion and paranoia increased to where staff that she had worked with alongside with for the whole time was really, she was questioning who we are. Thankfully, she knew who I was most days, and I could be able to redirect that confusion and paranoia towards other staff. On June 21st, she was down to 97.8 pounds, down 9.2 pounds from April. And she also started declining her cares and staying in bed, which was totally out of character for her. At that time, we made a decision as an IDT team to start compassionate visits and allowing the family to come in one at a time to sit with her. She got a pseudo dementia diagnosis at the end of July, and we started comfort care in the beginning of August. In September, she turned 97, and we were unable to conduct the BIMS. She was unable to answer or cognitively be aware. She scored a 99 due to that. And on October 5th, she passed away. We really feel like COVID was in the isolation, really took her toll on this elder, and it was very sad to see because of who she was and how educated she was and how full of life she was prior to COVID. And that was probably the most difficult thing that I've dealt with during COVID. And I often wonder if we wouldn't have went into isolation and the unknowns of COVID, would she still be with us? Next.
Sorry, this is Debbie. So this slide is a reflection of work that was done by Dr. Blythe Winchester, who is one of our stakeholders with Unite. Dr. Winchester is at the Cherokee Nation, part of Indian Health Service. And she had asked during 2020 if we could coordinate some efforts between all the tribal nursing homes and tribal assisted living facilities to report some information about what was happening with testing and COVID cases and things like that, deaths. And so we were able to formulate, with the help of Kaufman and Associates, this form. And so now we have about 10 to 12 of our tribal facilities reporting in. It is voluntary at this point. It's aggregate information only, so it's not specific to one resident. Tribal nursing homes submit monthly now. They did, I believe they did weekly for a while. And there are quarterly calls now, which used to be monthly, to kind of review the data and see what the trends are right now. So it's a good system to have in place. Next. So again, the point of doing this is to gather some subjective and objective information to address the situation we find ourselves in. Again, it would be considered a best practice. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Unite is all about advocacy. I really thank the panelists for what they presented today. We all care about and love the people we serve. I was at Archie Hendricks for 7 years as the education coordinator. I have very good memories of the time I spent with the elders there. And I think there's some grieving that we all have to do. So thank you all for participating today. Next, this is our contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me personally, or to go onto our website. I believe KAI will be sharing that link. I'd love to hear back from anyone on the call today. Next.
Thank you to our panelists and Debbie, our facilitator, for presenting today. Now we will open it up for questions. Feel free to type those questions in the Q&A box. I do have one question. Debbie, if you open up the Q&A
Yes.
box.
So there's one question here, I believe, Morningstar, I believe it was Morningstar, who talked about the tobacco ties. Was that Trinity? Trinity, did you talk about that?
That was me, Portia.
Okay, so there is, oh, Portia, I'm sorry. So Portia's at the Oglala Sioux Lakota Tribal Nursing Home. They would like you to talk again about, repeat how to say tobacco ties in Lakota. So the language.
It's Chanli Wapakta. And that's how you say tobacco ties in Lakota. Chanli Wapakta. There's a guttural in there.
Okay, thank you. I believe we could also, Brittany, if Portia doesn't mind, we could send the contact information for the tribal nursing home there where Portia is in case they want to follow up with her. Portia, if you'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be fine.
Okay, great. We have another question just thanking us for sharing our stories and putting a very human face on the pandemic. So thank you. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions. Oh, here's another one. Thank you for the invite. So you're welcome. I'll say you're welcome from all the panelists. See if there's any more. Sometimes it takes just a minute for people to type in what they want to say. Do any of the panelists, we have a little extra time, which is great. Does any of the panelists, do you guys want to elaborate on anything you shared today? Just feel free to unmute.
I'll share
Okay,
something.
great.
This just has to do with one of our, he's actually our resident council president. He's a military man. He's someone who doesn't really, like to do things that he's not used to. He's used to only one way. So when we first started doing activities virtually, he was hesitant. He was really hesitant. He didn't know if he was going to understand it. We'd, encouraged him to try, and he did try. And, now he's really thriving with the technology, and which is really amazing. A lot of our residents, even older generation, my mom, she doesn't really like technology, but she uses it when she needs to. So we knew that there was going to be a bit of a struggle with the technology, but they caught on. It's something that connects them with the community, connects them with other people. Like I said, we've done things virtually with the communities. So we've had traditional singers, we've had band plays for them. And so, it's been really well, and, I just encourage everybody to teach your elders how to use virtual activities.
So our biggest thing was, hi again. So our biggest thing was our community, just not being able to be a part with our elders. So one of the first things we did was Facebook. I'm not a Facebook person, and I am now. So just constantly sending pictures out so our community and families can see their loved one, and then they can type them a message, and then we're reading it back to them, or they can get on Facebook, some of them, and see it themselves. Also, we did a parade where they couldn't come on the property, but or throw candy. They drove by and made their car into floats, and each family, then the elders had balloons, and they were able to, at the end, let them go and say a prayer for somebody that maybe they had lost during COVID or before COVID. So it was a very emotional time for our elders and for our staff. We just had them lined up on the sidewalk, and they got to watch it, and it was pretty awesome.
We were pretty blessed with the parades. We've got to do them twice now our local BIA officers were involved, our community, different programs, tribal programs, and that was really meaningful.
We did have one more question for anyone who could answer this. It says, have you opened more now? Were the elders worried about taking the vaccination? Anyone want to answer that?
We started doing our vaccines as soon as we were able to here. We got permission from the families that wanted to. Some of them did not at first get in that first heat of getting the vaccine, and they waited and they're slowly getting them. Not all of our elders have chose to do that, and we're letting that be their decision. So that's been nice that they have that right to say no, that they don't want to. And we are opening up more. Our elders are able to go with their families at this time. We're allowed to allow visitors in the building 2 at a time. They can have multiple visitors throughout the day, but we are only allowed 2 in with the 6-foot distancing and mask use.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? There's another question. Anyone can answer this. Are you finding I'm sorry.
The next question.
Are you finding issues with residents rejoining programs now that you can start offering some groups? Like they're not used to being in groups and now they're wanting to be in groups again, or can be?
I think in the beginning for our nursing home, there was some concerns with some of our residents. They were just so worried about getting the virus, knowing that the virus had gotten into our facility at the time. But there were more than half of our residents who had no issues with rejoining groups. I know for a period there, we actually had our issues with our residents staying in their rooms when we were doing in-room meals and activities. It was more reminding them to stay in there for their safety rather than them wanting to come out after several months. So.
Okay. Did anyone else want to touch on that, Sharissa, or anyone else?
We have a couple people that still don't want to come out of their rooms, but they still want to go to Walmart to shop. So I mean, our activities has gotten bigger. More people are coming because they want something to do. People that don't normally come out. We're pretty packed at activities right now, trying to put them 6 feet apart. So.
Okay, excellent. Anyone else? I think we have just a couple minutes.
Debbie.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that. Yeah, it was a really challenge to keep our residents in their rooms at the beginning when we did the stay in the room thing. And then when we actually allowed residents to come out, especially to our dining room that was closed for a long time, we still had residents that were hesitant to come to the dining room or even out to the common area or living room that they referred to. And we had to talk to them and encourage them, and slowly a lot of them are now coming out. And then also during the pandemic, we have an assisted living facility next to our building. We had to transfer all our residents from that building into the nursing home. But a month ago, no, actually 2 months ago, we did transfer most of those residents back to our assisted living. So that's open now. It was closed for probably almost a year.
Wow. Okay, and we did get a comment here. Thank you all for your blessings of hope. So that was nice. And one final question we have time for. It says, and Mark, this might be something you could address based on what you just said. Are you thinking of any behavioral counseling or as counselor to speak to the residents about isolation and not being so afraid of the pandemic? Any comments on that?
Yes, I've been asked to talk to a lot of our residents, especially in the language. I speak the language here, which is Sana'atam, our tribal language. A lot of our residents prefer to get stuff or information translated in the language. So I do a lot of that with our nursing staff and other departments. And sometimes they just need to hear it in the language for them to agree to something. And yeah, it was a challenge for some residents, but not a lot.
Okay. Would anyone else like to comment on that question about counseling? And Mark, your background is in social work, so Mark's a social worker.
Yeah, I would like to respond to that question. So we had mental health counselor actually do Zoom meetings with our residents while we had outbreaks of COVID, but she would just come in and do the 15-minute test, COVID test, and see our residents one-on-one throughout the pandemic. So they had a good, I guess, she came in twice a week, I think, and they had a good time with her, I guess. So
There was some contact through the whole thing. Okay, thank you. I think we're running out of time. Brittany, I'll let you take it from here. Thank you all.
On behalf of the committee, we would like to thank everyone for your time today. The file was too large for me to attach in the chat box, so after the program has concluded, I will do an email blast with the presentation as well as the link to the United website again. But thank you all for your time today and for your wonderful questions. Have a great rest of your day.